All right, let's take a look at this picture right here. What we see here is I've got two lines, L1 and L2, and then I've got this line that sort of cuts across both of them. That line that cuts across both of them, that line is called a transversal. In class, what you would have done is you would have used transparency to see if you can find any angles in this diagram that end up being congruent to each other. And what you would actually have found is you would have found that, for example, angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Congruent means they're the same measure. Angle 5 is congruent to angle 7. And angle 8 is congruent to angle 6. So we would have found that angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. You would have found that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Angle 5 is congruent to angle 7. And angle 6 is congruent to angle 8. Now I know that these are congruent. It's kind of hard for me to show on this video, but I know that they're congruent because if I were to take angle 2, let's say, and I were to rotate angle 2 180 degrees around the center, which is the vertex of the angle. The vertex is where the angle comes together to a point. If I were to rotate this angle 180 degrees around that center, I'll end up right on angle 4, and it turns out that they are the exact same size. So which rigid motion explains why these angles are congruent? A rotation of 180 degrees around a center on the vertex of the angle. These angles are called vertical angles. And they happen anytime you have intersecting lines. So if I were to have two lines, here's one, there's another, you will know that this angle right here is congruent to this angle right there. Those are vertical angles. And this angle right here will be congruent to that angle right there. Those are vertical angles. Anytime lines intersect, you have this picture. You have vertical angles, and they are basically across from each other. Now, in this picture, we didn't find any other angles that were congruent to each other. And we're actually going to find out in the next section of this video that that's because this line and this line are not parallel to each other. Once this line and this line are parallel to each other, we actually get more angles to be congruent to each other. Let's come up with some other names before we move on to the next page. There are other angle pairs in this diagram. For example, we notice that angle 3 and angle 7, they are in the same position. So here we have a transversal, we have the lines crossing. Angle 3 and angle 7 are both in the lower right-hand corner of these intersections. That same position. Those are called corresponding angles. They're in the same position. So 3 and 7 would be corresponding, 2 and 6, 1 and 5, 4 and 8. Those would all be corresponding pairs. Now we've got two other angle pairs to deal with here as well. We also have angle 4 and angle 6. Those are what we call alternate interior angles. And the name gives you actually a lot of information. They're alternate because each is on one side of this transversal. They're not on the same side of the transversal. One is on one side and one is on the other. They're interior because they're inside these two lines right here. So this would be the interior. So they're alternate because they're on either side of the transversal, and they're interior because they're inside. So 3 and 5 would also be alternate interior angles. And then let's look at just one other pair, and that would be like angle 2 and angle 8. Angle 2 and angle 8 would be alternate, you guessed it, exterior angles. Again, it's because they're alternate because one is on either side of the transversal, and they're exterior because they're outside of these lines that cross. So 2 and 8 are alternate exterior. 1 and 7 are also alternate exterior. When the lines are not parallel, there's nothing special about those three angle pairs: alternate exterior, corresponding, or alternate interior. But when the lines are parallel, some cool stuff happens. Let's take a look. If in the figure below, we basically have the same picture as we had on the other page, but this time line L1 and line L2 are parallel to each other. So now what we would find is we have a lot more angles congruent to each other. Our vertical angles will stay, because that has nothing to do with parallel lines. Our vertical angles are always congruent. So that's like 1 and 3, 2 and 4, etc. But we also find out some other cool stuff. Corresponding angles like 1 and 5. Turns out that if the lines are parallel, our corresponding angles are going to be congruent to each other. Why? Because I could take this angle and I could translate it down this line M, and it would map directly onto angle 5. So, what did we notice about corresponding angles? When the lines were parallel, the corresponding angles were congruent. And how did I know that? I know that because I could translate angle 1 along some vector. We don't have to have the exact vector. These are a little bit vague, these description. Along some vector on line M to get angle 5. I'll draw the vector. You don't have to draw the vector, but it would look something like this. This is what the vector would look like. Boom. So angle 1 would be translated down the vector to angle 5. Okay, let's get rid of that vector. Okay. What about the alternate interior angles? So remember that our alternate interior angles would be ones like, I believe it says 3 and 5. So that would be 3 and 5. Well, it turns out that those are also congruent. How do I know? I could take angle 3 and I could rotate it around some center. The center would probably be right about here. And I could take angle 3 and I could rotate it around that center 180 degrees, and it will map directly to angle 5. So what do we notice about angle 3 and angle 5? We notice that alternate interior angles are congruent. Remember, this is specifically because the L1 and L2 are parallel. If L1 and L2 were not parallel, this would not be true. Now, what rigid motion do I know? I know that I could rotate angle 3 180 degrees around some center on line M to get angle 5. So lastly, we want to take a look at alternate exterior angles, which would be like number 2 and number 8. So number 2 and number 8 would be alternate exterior angles like we discussed on the last slide. And it turns out, again, if I just take angle 2 and I rotate it around that same center, 180 degrees, I'm going to get to angle 8. So, and we find that alternate exterior angles are congruent. Again, this is because the lines are parallel. And again, we would rotate angle 2 180 degrees around some center on line M to get angle 8. So, what we learn in summary is when these two lines are parallel, L1 and L2, when those two lines are parallel, it turns out that corresponding angles are congruent, alternate interior angles are congruent, and alternate exterior angles are congruent. And that's lesson 12a.